All righty. Last session, you've all made it, stuck around. Thank you so much for that. Really like the Bill Withers last song, pumping me up for this. So without further ado, I will kick it over to Jenny. Jenny, take it away.
Wonderful. Here we go, you guys. Like Andy said, thank you all for joining with me and bearing with me all day long. I know it's been a really intense day. A reminder that these are available to you. And after today's session, I greatly encourage you to check out the free workbook that is uploaded within Podia. I worked extremely hard creating basically a recap of today, but streamlined in a document for you with how-to tutorials. I think you're absolutely going to love it. It'll be a really valuable resource to you all. It's actually something that I sell on my website, but I am giving it away to all you guys for free. I hope that it's helpful to you and that you guys have learned a whole lot today. So with that, our very last session of the day, understanding your return and optimizing your ads. This is huge. This is huge. Many people, everybody wants to know what the return is, right? Like so many people come to me, Jenny, how do I know my return? How do I know if they worked? We're covering it right now. Get ready. This is going to be a good one. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. So let's dive right on in. So first things first, I hope this was made clear during our earlier sessions today, but the main thing that I want you all to focus on is what do you want out of your campaign? You know, when people ask me what their return is, or, hey, I boosted a post, but I don't know what my return is, my answer to them is, what were you hoping to get out of it? And you have to make that clear to Facebook. Otherwise, you're not going to know what you get out of it. Let me explain what I mean here. Are you looking to measure signups? Are you looking to measure purchases? Form submissions, people booking you? What is it that you're looking to get out of people? And we can measure anything, but we have to be so specific with Facebook and tell them exactly what we're measuring. If we don't tell them exactly what to measure, they're just going to say, you reached this many people and this many people watched your video. And that's fine. But at the end of the day, if we're spending our money, my personal opinion is we need to know exactly what came out of spending our money. So let's dive into how do you do that? First things first, it does go back to how we set up and optimize our campaigns. So the biggest mistake I see when people make or run their own Facebook ads is their campaigns are not optimized for the desired outcome. So your Facebook ads will only show a tangible outcome if you set up your campaigns correctly. If you guys have not watched my first session from today, I'd highly encourage you to do so. I show you exactly what all of the different objectives are. Facebook will tell you what it'll tell you what your objective was or whatever you optimize your campaign for. So if you optimize for purchases, you can know purchases, add to cart, initiated checkout, your return. So how much money came back to your business, how many times return that was for your business. You can know all this information, but you have to tell Facebook that that is what you want. You have to set up those campaigns with that in mind. When I say set up these campaigns, I mean literally logistically on the back end of Facebook, you have to set up that campaign. And let me just pull open Ads Manager to show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so an example, and I will show you this in Ads Manager here in a moment, but example, if you are looking for people to make a purchase, set up the campaign to optimize for purchases. Again, we had an example earlier today, someone saying, hey, I really want donations. Okay, optimize the campaign for donations. You can't optimize it for video views. Otherwise, what you're going to get is video views, right? Like I run video, and here's the thing, I do run video view campaigns for clients. I have some clients that they have really big online presences, they're influencers. Their goal is to get video views. We can get video views for a penny each, less than a penny each. That's actually a thing because it happens for a number of our clients. And so for them, video views is great. But if your goal was to get donations, if your goal is to get people booking you for a free consultation, you have to tell Facebook that this campaign is created with that in mind, because again, they're going to pull people who are likely to perform that action. Facebook has that data on us. They know that, for example, I'm someone who does a lot of online shopping. They're going to know that to me. So they're going to serve me ads that not only fit the targeting characteristics that someone set up an ad for, but they're also going to know that I'm an online shopper. It's crazy, isn't it? That Facebook knows that, but they do. So I'll give you a quick example here just from my real life before we move on. I've been suffering from some back pain, and I was talking to my husband about it, and sure enough, lo and behold, I get served an ad about, I think it's called like a spine. Oh, I don't even know what it is. It's got some catchy name to it, but essentially it's something to help with your spine and back pain. So I got served an ad I purchased it because those ads get me. If someone does a nice job with their ads, they'll get me. And I went ahead, I purchased this thing to help with my back, which has helped. But from there on out, I kept receiving new ads from new companies about back pain, about, what can help my back pain, because they know I'm a high intent purchaser with back pain. Isn't that crazy? But Facebook knows that. And I still see these ads, even though I've purchased and everything. But again, it's because they know I'm someone who does purchase online after seeing ads, and that I fall in the category of someone who has back pain. So last thing I'll say on that is, like I mentioned, there is a time and a place for brand awareness. If you're a new company in an area, if you're looking to establish yourself, especially in a smaller community, brand awareness is fine. Or if you have a brand new product launch, even if it's a nationwide launch, brand awareness is fine to do. Video views is fine to do, but just know that that is what you're going to get out of it. You're not going to have the outcome of hundreds of people purchasing from you or signing up for something. You'll get thousands of eyeballs and impressions and views. So, this was an exact example we ran through earlier today. I just said you could run an ad optimized for purchases that uses a video. So know that that's how you can get eyeballs on it. If you really do want to purchase, but you have an awesome video, great, run an ad optimized for purchases and use that video in there. Quick little share within Ads Manager. If you haven't joined us for the entirety of all of today's sessions, earlier, I just simply showed that when we're creating a campaign, this is where I'm talking about what is your objective. You need to literally tell Facebook what you want it to do, because it will do what you want it to do if everything else is set up properly. If your ad copy is great, your landing page is good, it's going to do what you want it to do. So like I said, if you are looking to get a conversion, like someone purchasing, booking, whatever, that can happen here. If you're looking for lead generation, so to capture people's information on Facebook, meaning we had an example earlier today, I think it was an insurance agent that runs lead gen forms. That's fine here. I think a real estate agent said she also does lead generation forms. Great. Facebook will do what you want it to do. Engagement. Like I said, I do run ads for some influencers, and their main goal literally to get likes, comments, and shares, because that's how they make money on their business. And so anyway, Facebook is very smart. It will do exactly what you tell it to do. So if you tell it that you want video views, it will give you video views at a very great rate. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get people purchasing from you. Two totally different things in Facebook's mind. All right. So let's go ahead and dive on into determining your return on ad spend. What I want to show you guys is, actually, hold on. Yeah, I'll show you this first. So what I'm going to show you here is how we can set up our custom columns to see all of the metrics that are most important to us. And this relates to return on ad spend, because we can see return on ad spend being one of those columns. All right, so here we are. I am going to stop sharing my screen for just a second while I get a couple of things set up within Ads Manager here. Okay. Go ahead and share again. Okay, so this is campaign, or sorry, an account that you're looking at here. You can see all of the active campaigns that we have running. And what I want to show you is how we can set up these columns to determine what our return is on these ads. So what I'm going to have you do is, when you're in Ads Manager, you'll go ahead and you are going to click on this here. These are all pre-populated columns from Facebook. They give us a bunch. And let me just move this on here. All right, so they give us a bunch. There's performance. I personally spend most of my time in the performance and clicks, but let's say you want to see how many people viewed your video and what the cost was. This is, again, not a campaign optimized for it, so I actually have literally never opened up the screen. But anyway, we can see, how many impressions, how many 3-second video plays we had. We can see the cost for that. Like I said, I'm not optimizing for this, so this doesn't greatly concern me. But what we can pay attention to are, like, let's say engagement. Like I said, for my client, this is not that client, but for my client that is really big on analyzing her number of engagements that she has, because that's what's important to her business. We can pay attention to post comments, post saves, post shares, link clicks. I'm going to show you guys what I believe to be the most important metrics that I'm paying attention to for most every single client, no matter what the objective is. But first, before I do that, let me show you how to set up custom columns for what's most important to you. All right. So, oh, there we go. Okay, so way down at the bottom here is customize columns. This is where the magic happens. I feel like this is like a hidden tool that not many people realize exists. I feel like it took me years within the marketing to know that this even existed, because I would always just manually pull what I needed. But you can set up your custom columns here. So let's say something that was important to you was knowing how many people purchased. Great. Go ahead and you see purchase populates here. Let's say you want to know how many people added to cart. Great. Now that's on this report here. It will show up in just a moment. Let's say you want to know how many, let's see, I'm just making this up, hire us form submission. Great. That is now here on there. And you can, what's cool is you can actually adjust these, move them all around too. So like if you want purchases to be way up at the top, great. It could be literally the first thing you see every morning when you wake up and check your ads, it can be there. Let's say you want return on ad spend. And hey, look at this too for our attendee who was here earlier this morning that was looking for information regarding their donations. You can find your donation return on ad spend. How neat is that? Wow, that's fascinating. So she can see how much she spent and how much of a donation return she received. It's brilliant. I love it. So anyway, purchase ROAS, purchase return on ad spend, also known as how much money did I spend and how many times more did I make that when I set my ads live? I'll show you what that looks like in, when I set this report live. So we've got that. Let's say you want to know, how about purchase conversion value? That's another one that I love. So I can do purchase, I have to click on value. So this means how much money was spent on my website. So if a product was a $75 product, then what I can see is, okay, if it's a $75 product, how much money did people spend? So, maybe the course of the last 7 days, they spent a few $1,000s on my products. Great, I can see that too, which is really, really neat. So I'm gonna do, like I said, you can go ahead, you can drag these, move them all around. So I'm gonna move that just right here. This isn't the typical order that I would, but I know that this is this is for many people like the bread and butter, what they wanna know. So I'm just gonna set this here for you guys so you can see it. Next, I would do save as a preset. Just call this test. This is very important. If you don't click save as preset, it's not going to be there the next time you log in. So you just have to recreate it. Anyway, okay, wonderful. So here we are. We're just taking a peek at one campaign here. Again, if you drop this on down and you click on test, then that is where you're going to see the columns that you just set up. So for this campaign in particular, within the last couple of weeks, we've had 37 purchases. The return on their ad spend has been at 2.38 overall. It's actually greater if you look at all of the individual ads. So we have top performing ads, low performing ads, but on average, they're still turning 2.3 times return. Purchase conversion value. So this shows that their business has made close to $3,000 from these ads in the last couple of weeks, which is wonderful. They have many different campaigns running. So this is just one of them. So we're happy with that. And then of course you can see everything else like adds to cart, how many people have saved posts. Like I said, there are just a whole slew of different reporting metrics that you can have. I'll go over, like I mentioned, my top ones that I'm always keeping tabs on, but I just wanted to show you guys how we set up this custom reporting column because this is important. You need to know what's most important to you. You need to see that right away. When you log in here. So again, let's just drop this on down and then you click on, it's not letting me scroll. There we go. Customize columns. And that's how you do it. So with that, let us go ahead. Oop. That's not the right presentation. Oh, well, hold on. I don't know. Here it is. Okay, cool. Oh. Sorry, you guys. Give me just a moment while I'm pulling this open again. I don't know where that one went. Okay. Here we are. All right, so the next thing that we are going to go ahead and run through is I need to show you guys how it is that we set up this tracking, right? Like today I've showed you how you can see what your return is, et cetera, but I've been mentioning this, and this is like the very, very important piece is how do we actually set up that tracking to measure and to know, how does Facebook know that this is a form submission? How does Facebook know that this is a purchase? How does Facebook know that I'm looking to get people to join my email list? How do I set up that tracking? So reminder that this video here. I've got it in this presentation so you guys can access it later. You're going to need to go back to it because there's going to be a lot of good information in here. I'm going to go ahead and click play on this. Okay, so I'm going to click play on this. Andy, let me know if the audio at all is kind of fuzzy on this, but I've got this recorded because I know you all are going to want to come back to this. Essentially, what I'm showing you here is how we set up custom conversions. What a custom conversion is Facebook has pre-populated items. So like for my website, they identified that my website is hosted through Shopify. So they know that I'm probably going to measure add to cart, purchase, initiate checkout, etc. But if there's something special, such as if you head to my website, there's a pop-up that says, hey, do you want free tips and tricks? Here's a video tutorial. Well, I want to measure when people actually do that. And so that's something custom. That's something special outside of just the ordinary. Or maybe there's like a donate button. Facebook might not recognize that there's a donate button on your website. So this is how we set up what we're calling custom conversions. All right. So this is just a 7-minute long video here, and then I'm coming back on to just continue commenting on this here. All right, so I want to discuss custom conversions. Custom conversions is something that's extremely important. If you want to measure anything specific on your website, you're going to need some custom conversions set up. Now, you also might be able to get away with going ahead and just measuring standard events. So if you have purchase, add to cart, initiate checkout, some of those might already be pre-populated and working correctly on your website. However, there are things such as, take a look at this. This is a free download that I have. And if someone signs up on my website, well, how do I measure the number of people that saw an ad and then signed up here? So clicked on, give me that tutorial. Take a look how this just redirected to this adsoncork.com/pages/you're in. This is a perfect example of someone was on my regular website. And again, what ended up happening is they signed up through my pop-up here, and then they were directed. Yep. So here's that pop-up. And then again, what I want to do is measure when someone clicks on give me that tutorial. Now my Facebook pixel, it's not going to pick up as, hey, Jenny, this is someone who signed up for your tutorial. They might say that, they could pick up that someone took an action on my page, but this is a very specific custom thing, right? Like I made this for my website specifically. So all that I did is I had this button redirect to what I'm calling a thank you page. And on this thank you page is it's just letting them know that I have a quick start guide. If they want to take a peek, here's a little bit of information about what that quick start guide is. Regardless, what I want to show you is that I'm sure you noticed when someone saw this pop-up form, they clicked on give me that tutorial. What I did is I set it up so that it redirected to a special, I'm just calling this my thank you page. So it's adsoncork.com/pages/you're in. So what I'm going to do is tell Facebook, hey, every time someone hits this URL that has /you're in, I'm counting this as someone who's opted into my email list through this free guide that I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how we set up a custom conversion for this, because again, Facebook isn't going to pick up on this. They pick up on certain things on my website, like they would pick up on people heading to my shop and purchasing my quick start guide. They would know that someone clicked on add to cart. You can see my pixel firing here for add to cart. When someone heads to the next page, it should fire as an initiated checkout. Oh, they've got to enter in their contact info. But anyway, then it's going to move to initiated checkout. But again, it's these custom events that sometimes are the most important to us. Let's say someone's signing up for a webinar of yours. You're going to want to know that they signed up for that webinar, and Facebook might not be picking up on that event coming through here. It might just say that you had a page view or you had a button click. So what I'm going to do is show you how it is that we set up that custom conversion. So inside of Events Manager, what I'm going to have you do, well, first head to business.facebook.com, and then I want you to click on the little hamburger dropdown, find Events Manager. And over here on the left-hand side is where it's going to say Custom Conversions. Now, if your screen looks a little bit different than mine, fear not, Facebook changes all the time, so your screen very well may look different than mine. What I want you to do is to head to your business settings and to do your best to maneuver on down to some sort of either Events Manager, or yours might even just say Custom Conversions. It's the circle with the star around it. Whoop. Okay, so I click on Custom Conversions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Create Custom Conversion. Make sure also that your proper account is selected here, as you might have a few. Create custom conversion. I'm going to do ads on port. Name your conversion. So this is where I would say email sign up, or I could say, you know, free download / email sign up, because people downloaded my free download and they're now on my email list. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that my data source is here as in Work Pixel. When the URL traffic contains
Hey, Jenny, I don't know if something happened to the video, but I think the audio might have stopped.
Andy, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I think I know what happened. I plugged in my AirPods and I think it was right around. Someone might be able to comment and tell me. I think it was right around.
It wasn't that far back, I don't think.
Like, oh, I thought it was like a minute ago. No. Oh man. Let's go. I think it was right around. I think it was just before 4 minutes or so. Conversions, and what I'm going is I'm going to say create custom conversion. Make sure also that your proper account is selected here, as you might have a few. Create custom conversion. I'm going to do ads on port. Name your conversion. So this is where I would say email sign up, or I could say, you know, free download / email sign up, because people downloaded my free download and they're now on my email list. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that my data source is here as in Work Pixel. When the URL traffic contains, you're in. Remember, I grabbed that from here. So I'm telling Facebook that every time the URL contains you're in, that's what I'm counting as a free download. And I will be able to use this event as an event in the future for my Facebook ad campaign. So if I ever wanted to run ads to grow my email list, what I could do is I could tell Facebook, hey, I want to optimize this campaign to make sure that people are performing this action. So they're making it through to this thank you page. Facebook's very smart in that way, that if I'm trying to get people to sign up for my email list, I need to tell them exactly what that conversion looks like. Otherwise, Facebook would just send traffic and it might be lower intent people and it'll have a much, much, much lower conversion rate than if I had programmed it. Than if I had programmed it to say that we're looking for people to make it to this /pages / you're in thank you page. So anyway, all I have to do is click create. And now it's prompting me with a couple different directions. It says to make sure I go to my business manager and assign this to my actual business ad account, and then make sure that I have it in my web configurations as well. Facebook actually directs you right to where you need to go. What it's doing is just making sure, they want me to make sure that it's connected to my ad account. Great. So it says now I've been connected to my ad account. And then the second step here is it says in Events Manager, go to your domain's web configuration and add this as a custom conversion. So again, it'll pop you right to where you need to be. And then what you would do is you would find your actual URL here. Mine isn't here because for a couple different reasons. But anyway, what you'd end up doing here is just going ahead and assigning it. Yeah, you would go ahead and you would assign it, for example, you would say manage events, edit, and then you'd be able to go ahead and add that event. And then you would go ahead and you'd type in the name of your event. It'd be under your custom conversions. And then it would be right here. You'd go ahead, select it, and click apply. And again, this last step that I ended up doing here, I'm not going to save it because this is for a different client account, but the reason that they have us do this is Facebook now only allows us to have 8 total events. And so by doing this, what we're able to do is say, hey, this is one of the 8 important events to me. So it's crucial. If you don't put in that last step, it's actually not going to perform and your ads aren't going to do well. Okay. So let's see here. India, I can't figure out how to. I do that. Okay, you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so I know that was very, very tech heavy, and let's make sure that you guys can see me too. Cool, here I am. All right, so I know that was very tech heavy. I want to just take a moment and kind of rehash what just happened there, and reminder that that is available for you guys later. I wanted to record it just to make sure I didn't miss anything for you. But what I just showed you there, again, is how we're setting up a custom conversion. So in order to know if Facebook's going to be able to measure something or not, we might need to set up that custom conversion. I want to show you one other tool right now that will be of interest to you all. You'll see me, like I'm sure you've seen throughout the day today, I've been using a tool called the Facebook Pixel Helper tool. Let me close out of this. Oh, that's not letting me. Okay, that's fine. The Facebook Pixel Helper tool. So what that is that's the tool that's been telling me right up here. It's the one I've been using up here, which tells me if there's a pixel on something. So anyway, I'd strongly recommend you guys get that. It's a free Google Chrome extension. But anyway, one thing I do want to show you is this. There is one other tool that makes it a little bit easier. I just showed you guys kind of the pretty manual way of setting up custom conversions, but there is a tool actually that will identify different buttons on your website that you can say like, yes, this is a donation, or yes, this is something else. I showed you the way of doing it with custom conversions because it's not a perfect science. Facebook does miss things, and sometimes they can't measure like the one thing you need. You'll be like, I can't measure the one thing I need. So what I just showed you is the foolproof way of doing it. So for the example of Chelsea Joe, who we went through her stuff earlier today, do you guys remember how we were taking a look at her website here and it wasn't measuring? Okay, so it wasn't measuring when we went ahead, entered in the name, the email address. What I'm going to do is show you guys how she should be able to set up this button. So Chelsea, like I said, you can do a redirect to a thank you page. That's option 1, but your Facebook account might be able to track this button as give me access now. So let me show you guys what this kind of nifty tool is. And if all else fails, you do what I just showed you in that video where you set up a little redirect page. So I'm going to open up my business settings here. I'm going to head on over to Events Manager. I'll go ahead and open up my own ad account. All right, so over here, notice how I have, there are a few different options. We have data sources, custom conversion, partner integration. We're going to click on custom conversion, click on create custom conversion. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, that is not it. Hold on. Data sources, excuse me. So under test event. Okay. So there's a few different things here. Again, all of this is covered in the tutorials. This is like kind of step 1 of understanding what the heck we're even looking at here. Make sure you check out those tutorials. They'll be the very first ones on the workbook. But one of them is add events from the Pixel. What it's saying is they have this thing called the event setup tool. So this will tell me, can I track all these different buttons, or do I need to do the manual way that Jenny just showed me? So Chelsea Joe, what I'd have you do is I would have you go through, and you know what, I'm going to see if I can do for Chelsea Joe's. I don't think it'll let me because of the fact that I don't own her Pixel, but let's just see if it will. I have a feeling it probably isn't. Yeah, no, Facebook Pixel ID not found. So because I don't own Chelsea's domain, it's not going to let me, but that's okay. I'll show you how it works on my website. Okay, so again, I go to this event setup tool. I click on open website. All right. So over here, Facebook is telling me all of the events that it finds, or that it has found on my page. It says no events found. As you can see, I've got all these buttons, right? I have learn more, book a call with me. I've got this popping up. And I've got like a work with me button. So I want Facebook to actually track all these. So let me show you how we can do this. Track a new button. Now take a look. It's highlighting all the buttons it finds. So it says that this is a button. That's not really a button. So you can see it's not perfect, right? But there's like a contact right here. So what I can do is I can click on that and say, yes, Facebook, that's something I want to track. I want to track that as a lead and no, don't include a value. So I could track it as a lead. I could track it as contact, but let's see, let's click through and see what happens. I don't really want to know when people click on that. I actually want to know when they fill out this form. So anyway, what I would say is I actually want to track this button as contact. So I'd click on this. So I want to track this one as contact. So it's really that simple. So now moving forward, if I ever run a campaign, I can optimize it for contact. So I'm hoping that kind of brings it full circle. I'll give you guys another example of how we do this, but I'm hoping that brings it full circle of talking about how we need to optimize for what we really want. If I want to optimize for getting people to fill out my contact form, that's exactly how I do it. I would click finish setup and then it'll be done. But let me show you, let's try to do another button. Let's see if I can, see if that pop-up will come back. Nope, it's not coming back for me. Track new button. Trying to see if I can get it to not track something. Yeah. Aha. Okay, found one. Do you see this down here? See this count me in button? It's not highlighted, but that's how people join my email list. So that's where it'd be like, oh, rats. Like I want to run an ad for people to join my email list, but I can't do it because this isn't highlighted. So that's an example of that manual process I just showed you. That's when we're going to need to work on that thank you page redirect. So Chelsea, even bringing that round circle to your example, if it's going to let you track that button when you set up this event setup tool, if it lets you track that button, phenomenal. If it doesn't, you're going to need some sort of, you'll have to get a little creative, like taking that, I'm forgetting the name of your webinar platforms page, but you would need to take that and have that be the custom URL as tracking as like, that's a sign up essentially. So anyway, let's just do one more here though. Let's do shop, my quick start. Let's do connect and convert with Facebook ads course. So this is my full course I have. I can do track new button, join for connect and convert. Well, actually, you know what? Take a look at it. That doesn't mean anything to me. But if I come here, here's the full course. I want to make sure that this is tracking. And hey, look, my Facebook event setup tool says we're tracking add to cart here. So that's awesome. I love it. Now let's go ahead and click on checkout. I group the terms, click on checkout. Let's see if Facebook is identifying anything in here. Doesn't say, well, if I do track new button, let's see. It's not tracking anything right out the gate. So I could do continue to payment and I could say that this would be something like an initiated checkout. Did I scroll past that? Initiate checkout. So I could program it as an initiate checkout. So anyway, when you're done, you click finish setup. Yes, I want to track my contact button. When the button reads send. And it is just glitching because I'm sharing my screen. For fear of this breaking, I was going to say I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. So anyway, click finish. Yes, this was helpful. Okay, and there you have it. So that is how we set up that custom tracking. I know that that's a lot. I'm going to press pause right now. I have a little bit more content for you all, but I'm going to press pause. What questions do you have regarding all of those details that I just dove into? Go ahead, drop them in the Q&A here. Nothing. That's okay if you guys don't have questions. That's fine. I know that was just a lot, but those are, the nitty-gritty details, and those replays are available for you. So let us go ahead and jump into the rest of the content here.
Jenny, there was something that did come in.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I must have missed that.
It just came in. So. All
right. Wonderful. Okay, so Anne is wondering, does the setup tool count as one of the 8 custom conversions? Yes. So anything, well, I'm sorry. And no, you can track all of the things that you want to track. You could track 30 different things on your website, but when we're running an ad, they will only let them know what the top 8 things is on our site. So for example, on my website in particular, I don't often run ads for my own business. I run them for other people, but we don't need that kind of lead generation through Facebook ads. We get our referrals elsewhere. So I don't have this set up, but if I did, what I would do for my 8 events is I would do, I do you saw, I've got a course available. So I would do add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase. I would probably do a contact form submission. Like if I wanted leads through my website and if I was running ads to it, I would do contact. So anyway, I could track though all of the other things on my website. I could have that event setup tool track what they are, but I would only submit 8 of them to Facebook. It's kind of funny that they do that. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure why, but I can tell you, I haven't had a problem with any of my clients. We have worked with hundreds of clients and I don't have any issues regarding, oh, there are more than 8 things that I want to be tracking. You're not going to be running more than 8 campaigns at a time to 8 different things. If you are, you're probably a bit too scattered in your marketing strategy. I've never run into any snags where that's an issue. So Anne says, so are you saying that the custom events is all about tracking only? So the ads still get optimized by Facebook. Do I have that right? So, you know what, Andy, can we have Anne come take the floor with me? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me one moment here. All right, Anne, go for it.
Hi, Anne. Thanks for your question.
Hi. Thanks for, this is so clarifying.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Because I've studied this in the last year, like I get it, but I feel very unstable. So this is really helpful. So I'm just wanting to make sure I understand, because there's such a big fright going on when that Apple thing happened. And then people said, you only get 8 events and you have to, if you want to change something, it takes Facebook 72 hours and you're not taking in money. And I'm just like, I have to plan my whole business, even though I don't know what it's going to be in a year. And so it's good to know if it's true that these events will still be optimized, even though I don't get the data. Is that how that is? Or am I being clear?
Yeah, I think so. Let me take a stab at it and see if I'm missing anything. So again, we can use that event setup tool to have Facebook understand all of the different things that are happening on our website. But I'm not necessarily going to run ads. Think about this. I'm not going to run ads to get people to click on initiate checkout and run ads to have people click on add to cart and run ads to have people click purchase. Like it can measure all of those things, but I'm not specifically running ads to every single thing that I could track on my website. So that setup tool could track, like I said, you saw there are 10 options of things that it could track. And I can tell it what every single thing means to me. But all that we're saying is that when you are setting up those 8 important events to you with an aggregated event measurement right here, all that we're saying is you need to tell Facebook which are the top 8. So if you're just taking a look quickly, if you're taking a look quickly at some of my client accounts here, this client only needs 3. This only needs 3. This one needs 6. This one only needs 1. This one needs 8. So you can see that not everybody needs all of them. I'm not super worried about it. So like this client, they're e-commerce. We only need purchase, initiate, checkout, add to cart. And so don't be concerned. So what you had asked though was, about this 72 hours, right? So everyone here should know that whenever you make an edit, Facebook, unfortunately, don't know why, they now will take 72 hours essentially to just process what you just did. So what you were referencing here, Anne, was that, so let's take this as an example. So it's saying, hey, 72 hours is what it's going to be before you can edit anything again. It's not your ads though. You can do anything you want with your ads. They're simply saying, take a look. I haven't messed up anything yet. So don't be afraid to click on that.
Okay.
All that it's saying here is that, okay, so for this client, purchase, initiate, checkout, add to cart. Let's say I wanted to add one more thing for them. Let's say they said, hey, Jenny, we want to know when people are contacting us. So I could do add event. Whoop, sorry, it was doing it down here. Okay. So all I did was I clicked on add event and it jumped down. It created this new line item. So I choose my pixel of TMTG. Okay, choose an event. So this is where if I had set up one of those custom ones, you guys just watch me do the event setup tool. That's where I could go ahead and I'd pick it up here. But anyway, let's say I wanted to do when someone See, do you see how nothing really makes sense for e-com other than this?
Yeah.
But let's just say, for example, I wanted to measure when leads came in. So now you guys, and again, you'll see this in the tutorials that I have recorded for you. But now what I'm saying is I'm telling Facebook, hey, purchase, that's the highest ranked item for me. That is what I want most of all. Underneath that, what's important to me is initiating checkout. Underneath that, what's important to me is adding to cart. And underneath that would be a lead form being submitted on my website. So know, Anne, that what I'm going to do from here is I would click apply. And then that's when I get the message that says, hey, you can't change anything for 72 hours, but I don't care. I'm running my campaigns. Nothing is being turned off in my ad campaigns. It's just if I wanted to switch around this order and say, oh no, I made a mistake. Leads are more important than having people make a purchase. That's what I would need to wait 72 hours on. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you another, this is maybe beating a dead horse. I have to make sure I understand. So these, like you showed us with the more, the test setup event, you can have as many track for whatever you want, everything if you want. But when you set up this aggregated manager thing, you're telling Facebook exactly what you want to see when you're going into the ads manager and you're customizing, at the same screen where you would customize your columns. Like, so I'm looking at my data and I say, do I get that part of it right? That distinction?
Right. So what we're telling Facebook is, hey, I'm going to be running ads for these specific things. Just know that I'm going to be optimizing campaigns for these events is essentially what this aggregated event measure is.
But it's like Facebook wants to know that so it can tell me that data and get that data correct to me. And the rest of it is still happening in the background, but I don't get that information. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, and you can, right? Like you can see, like take a look at this. These are all the other things that are happening. Search, initiate checkout, view content, page view. I can still see all of that. I'm just telling Facebook that I'm going to be running campaigns and these are the things that matter to me most. But take a look, Anna, I can still see this for one of my clients here. I can still see.
Cool. So nothing's really changed for small businesses with that Apple thing if you know how to do this, right?
I'd say the biggest change is that our audience targeting is what has changed. Our ability to see. So for example, if someone's opted out of tracking, I can't see that anymore. That's the biggest effect on both small and large businesses alike. But it doesn't affect. So it affects what we can see. So my perceived return on ad spend, I'm going to say perceived simply because many of my clients, I get this question all the time. Well, Jenny, what have your clients done? Did you lose all your clients this past year? No, not at all. I didn't lose a single person this past year because of these iOS updates, but the data that I could see used to be this big. And I'd say, hey, we could see what someone did. They saw an ad 2 weeks later, they made a purchase. I can tell you that was because of my ad 2 weeks ago. I can't do that big parallel anymore, but that's where I really have a bigger focus for my clients on what I was talking about earlier today, the omnichannel marketing efforts. And so what that's looking like for my clients is helping support them, making sure that they have email marketing set up to support people. Once people are in, they've purchased from them, I want to see them purchasing again. When someone has used them for a service, we want to see them coming back. And so really the biggest impact that I've seen, both large businesses and small businesses alike, is this extreme need for nurturing people, not just through Facebook ads. And I'm kind of going off the deep end, but this is really important. It's very important to me, which is, as small business owners, like I'll take, for example, so I have a client. When I started with her, she makes a subscription box. She had 70 subscribers a month when we started with her. She's now at 700 a year and a half later. Really thrilled about that for her. But what has helped her grow is absolutely our Facebook ads. But what I'm really focusing on with her, especially this past year, is figuring out how we nurture people, how they become a customer once, but how do we get them to come back every single month? Well, yeah, we can run ads all day long to get new people in, but what I really want to shift everyone's focus here towards is ads are a piece of the puzzle. Another important piece of the puzzle is figuring out, Shannon was talking about email marketing today, nurturing people via welcome emails, nurturing sequences. So what I'm doing for my client who has the subscription box, I'm still running ads to get people to join her box because that's important. But how I've been able to grow her business is through helping her understand, okay, someone came in for month 1. How do we get them to come back in month 2, 3, 4? How do we get them to continue returning? We're doing that through emailing. So anyway, that's one of the big reasons we wanted to bring Shannon in here today too, is just to kind of tie together these pieces of, yeah, there have been impacts for businesses. I would say my small businesses have been more impacted than my large businesses, but all businesses alike have been impacted simply because we used to be able to see this much data and now we're operating with this much data. Ads are still effective. We still bill it for our clients. It just looks a little different than it used to. So
can I ask one last question? So, and it's more technical. So we go into that aggravated thing and we see all of our, in the order of priority, what we want Facebook to know that we're into for that ad.
Yeah.
And we have custom and we have standard. So either way, if it's custom or standard, if it's on that list, that counts as an 8-1, right? And the order that it's in is the order that Facebook prioritizes. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yep, exactly. So for anybody who didn't follow, who hasn't maybe watched these tutorials yet, what Anne's talking about is here we can set up, we can have it pull from like one of the pixels pre-populated purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart, or I could grab one of my custom conversions, like for Chelsea Joe, our example that we've been using today. Chelsea Joe was measuring like webinar registration, workshop registration. So that would be under her custom conversions. And then it would be, something, it would be here like.
So then the ones used with that test event tool you showed us, they don't show up here, but you can look them up in that other tab.
Nope, they will show up here. They will show up here. Mm-hmm.
If you have more than 8, then you just refer back to that tab.
If you have more than 8, you refer back to that tab, but you're not going to be able to run an ad with that being the conversion event.
Okay. So you could just kind of see, well, I'm optimizing for, I don't have it up the top of my head, but optimizing for one thing that's related to conversion ads. And I just also so happen to want to see blah, 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 that's not related to conversion ad. That's when I would check that tab.
Right. Like if you wanted to see page views or something like that. Yeah. You could just check out the pixel tab. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. That is so clarifying. I really appreciate it.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And, let's see here. Andy, I just want to make sure, I think I actually do have another little slide I need to get through. Let me just make sure we don't run out of time. I could talk about this all day long, as I'm sure you guys can see. So, all right, next thing I want to talk about is most important metrics. So people ask me like, what am I supposed to look at? I'm not a data numbers person like you are, Jenny. What am I supposed to look at? So I just recorded, I think this is a really short video for you guys on just key metrics that I'm typically paying attention to. Why is it not hyperlinked? Give me a moment here. Stop my screen share. Okay. All right. I'm gonna share my screen again. All right, you guys, last video from me, and then we will end it with any other outstanding questions that you guys have for me. Okay.
All right, so I want to run through the most important metrics that you're going to want to keep tabs on when looking at your campaign. Now, Facebook offers so much information regarding campaign performance, and it can be overwhelming. So let's just narrow it down to what's most important. First thing we're going to take a look at is opening this up to performance and clicks. I like all of the columns that they offer here because it narrows down the focus and it provides you with just the most important information. So make sure you're at performance and clicks for your columns. And then first we're going to take a look at our link clicks. Now keep in mind, I'm not looking at the clicks all column. I'm just looking at the link clicks column. Reason being is that with clicks all, this includes everything. So this is people who clicked to enlarge an image. It's people who liked your ad. It could be people who clicked on your link click or went to your landing page, but we don't know that for sure. So I pretty much disregard this clicks all column and I shift my focus over to the link clicks. So this is how many people clicked on your link. If you need like a refresher at any point in time, you can just hover over this and it will give you a better definition of what each of these metrics are. So make sure you're taking a look at link clicks. And then in that same manner, take a look at your cost per link click. Again, I don't want CPC all. I don't want cost per click all because that's going to include people who are liking, loving, commenting, clicking through to my website, expanding the ad. I don't care so much about that. I more want to focus on my cost per link click, because in this ad in particular, I'm trying to get people to download a freebie. So I want to send them off the ad to the freebie. And I can see that it's costing for my 2 best audiences around 22 to 26 cents. Another thing to pay attention to is the link click-through rate. Now, this is just the percentage of times that people saw my ad and ended up clicking through. Now, again, I don't want to look at click-through rate all. That's kind of a garbage metric, again, because of the fact that it's including all of the clicks that are happening on my ad. So this is specifically the number or the percentage of click-through rate that we have. And when gauging whether or not your ads are effective and if your metrics are looking good, really take a look at your link click-through rate. If you're sending your ad to a cold audience, you should be shooting for about a 1% click-through rate. So that cold audience meaning people who don't know your business, maybe it's just a audience that you just created or a lookalike that you've never tried before. You should be shooting for about 1% click-through rate. Now, if this is a warm audience, meaning they are people who engage with you online, maybe they've visited your website before, maybe they're on your email list, you would expect your click-through rate to be higher. So sitting around a 2 to 3% for a warmer audience. So this ad in particular is performing very, very well. We have a click-through rate around 4 to 5%. All right, another column that I always keep tabs on is our results column, and then our cost per results. So results, this is if you have some kind of conversion event set up. So this is a freebie download that I ask people to download. And so these are the number of downloads I've had in the last week. So number of people joining our email list in the last week. And then you can see here my cost per result. So
and you guys, just a quick note from me here in real time. So in this results column, if you were optimizing for purchases, it would say purchase and cost per purchase. So that's where you can kind of get working on that, what that return was for you. So just as a little side note, this results column will show you whatever it is that you're optimizing for. And then also just keep in mind one more thing too. If there's anything here that you want to see that you don't see, just a reminder that you would drop this on down and you would set up custom columns. So if you wanted to see return on ad spend, you'd put that there, or purchase conversion value, you could see that.
At my audience here that I have turned off. The reason I turn this off, I'm sure you can see by taking a look at my cost per result. So in this column, I had a bunch of freebie downloads coming in at about $1.32, $1.26, and then this one was coming in at $4.38. So at the very beginning, I identified that this was going to be a more expensive audience. So I'm no longer going to use this audience because it's not serving me as well as the other two. So what you need to do is when you're optimizing and taking a look at these, just be smart about what metrics are most important to you. Like maybe for you, your most important metric is just your number of link clicks that are coming through and the cost at which they're coming through. Well, this is clearly the cheapest option. So that might be the audience you keep on. For me, I was more focused on how many downloads am I getting and what is it costing me? Well, this one's most expensive. I'm going to shut that off. All right. Another column that we're going to take a look at is over here, way over at the end. So this is actually a video ad, and you can see here the video average watch time. So this is how long on average people are watching my video. And this is a shorter video. I think it's around 12 seconds, or maybe around 10 seconds or so. So people are watching on average 3 to 4 seconds, and we can see the video percentage watch. So this means how much of the video are they watching? Now, let's say you had a video that was a couple minutes long and people are only watching for 4 seconds. Well, that is not a good sign. And you'd want to either swap out for a new video or consider trying image instead of video. So those are our most important metrics. And there is a bunch of other information in here too. Like I said, I'm just narrowing it down for you into the most important things that I always keep tabs on. If you're curious about what these other metrics are, you can hover over them and see the frequency, a definition for frequency here. You can see definition for impressions. And these are 2 other columns I do keep tabs on. So frequency is how often someone's seeing the ad. Don't be alarmed if someone's seeing your ad 3 or 4 times, that's all right. If you get into a frequency of 10, of 12, and you are selling, like, let's say a lower ticket item or asking for something of people in a smaller audience, you've got to be aware of what that frequency is. I don't get alarmed when it's around 3, when it's around 4. But if you get up much higher than that, then you risk oversaturating your audience, meaning they're going to see your message way too often and you might just be annoying them. And then impressions. Impressions is just simply the number of times that your ads were on a screen. And with impressions, this is a good metric to take a look at, because if you are seeing that you've got low clicks, a low click-through rate, a high cost per click, make sure that you have impressions. Because if you see that maybe you've only had 50 impressions and you've got a terrible click-through rate and a high frequency, there might just be an issue and your ad might not be feeding out properly. Your audience may be too small. So just make sure that this ad is actually running and that you are reaching people. So there you have it. Those are the most.
One other thing, going to interrupt myself here. One common mistake I see business owners make is that I need you to make sure that you have at least 1,000 impressions on an ad before you turn it off. So many people get antsy and, you know, they let it go on for a few hours and then they get nervous and they turn it off. You need to have 1,000 impressions. This is close enough, but around that mark to know whether or not that's going to work, whether to know that if you should switch over from your short form copy to your long form copy, or maybe you need to change from that one graphic you were thinking of to that other graphic you were thinking of. So that's just a little side note.
Important metrics that I always take a look at.
Okay, so with that, let's see. Just stop sharing my screen here. Turn my video back on. Okay, so I did have a question come in while that video was playing. So Anne was asking if I recommend creating a spreadsheet and entering data from Ads Manager, or do I simply check Ads Manager for the metrics info? And if I didn't run ads for other people, if I just ran them for my own business, I probably just keep tabs within Ads Manager. But because we have so many different client accounts and it's very important for us to analyze every single client, like every single thing that's happening for every single client, we do pull reporting. You can pull reporting from Ads Manager. I don't think it looks too aesthetically pleasing. So I subscribe to a software called Swydo, SWYDO. And anyway, that pulls our reports, but there are many, many different reporting systems that you can use to pull any kind of report that you might need. So you guys, we've got about 15 minutes left. I would love to answer any other burning questions that you guys have. I am a completely open book, so I want to hear from you all. What questions do you have at the conclusion of our day here today?
And just while you all are typing up your questions, I want to go ahead and just do some kind of end of the day housekeeping. We're at the tail of it. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know that it was a lot of information, or could be a lot of information. The good news, this is all being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube page, DreamBank's YouTube page. I'll send out an email reminder just to the email address that you used to register to the event today. Once we do get them uploaded, we typically batch all of our events at the end of the week. So this one, kind of a behemoth, chopping up all the different events and editing them a little bit and then uploading them as well too. So I would say probably sometime next week, or maybe even the week following. But again, I'll make sure to let you folks know when those are up. I'll go ahead and upload those up to the Podius site. So then you should have the slides as well as the videos, the corresponding videos to go along with that. In addition to the wonderful VIP Day workbook that Jenny was so kind to put together as well too. So all of that will be available for you within the next couple weeks.
All right, I don't see anything coming through from you guys. There's got to be some burning question. I'm here. What else do you guys have for me? Anything else?
Yeah, I guess, Jenny, while people are still typing, if anything comes up after the fact, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at adsuncorked.com. I'll do a quick little, let me do just a screen share of how you can get a hold of me. Let's see here. All right, guys, just pulling open one of my Canva presentations from today. So yeah, you can get a hold of me at adsuncorked.com. I'm most active on Instagram. So that's another place to get a hold of me. I'm of course on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Let me just get this slide up so that you guys can see it. Just make sure you're spelling it right. Let's see. Share screen over here. Okay, cool. that's how you get a hold of me. So adsuncorked.com, Jenny at adsuncorked, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Would love to connect with you guys. We connect with a lot of e-commerce businesses, which is super fun. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I used to be a math teacher. In my previous life, I taught math. So I'm really very much a numbers and data analytic nerd. So this has been a fun change in profession for me. I went back to school for social media marketing after I was a math teacher. And it's been just a really, a fun profession for me, and really exciting growing our agency. So we work a lot with e-commerce business owners. We also work with a number of agencies actually who need training for their agencies, for their departments, whether it be marketing department, social media department, email marketing. We do a lot of training. And then we also work alongside a lot of corporations that maybe already have an advertising department, but they need help just outsourcing it and having it go to someone else's hands. So let's see. Seeing if we have anything. Yeah.
Well, Jenny, it's been a pleasure getting to sit in and kind of soak all of this information. I know that I'll definitely need to go back and look over some of that. But thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you, everyone who took time out of their day to join us here all day long. Here at DreamBank, we truly believe in the power of dreams and celebrate that our community is made up of fellow fearless dreamers. And as we wrap up, Jenny, we always like to ask, what is one piece of advice that you have for someone who's pursuing a dream right now?
And please excuse the fire alarm that just went off. I'll make this quick. Really good timing though, right?
Yeah.
You said one piece of advice to my fellow fearless dreamers.
Yep, for someone pursuing a dream right now.
I would say if it's not working, keep trying, because it's always going to be hard. Even when you're doing what you love, it can still be hard, and it can also be discouraging when things aren't going exactly the way that you planned. But my piece of advice is just to keep trying, but also to reach out to resources. I know DreamBank has been a wealth of information for me, and there are so many people out there that are willing to help fellow entrepreneurs.
Well, Jenny, hopefully it is just a drill. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I should probably get going.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you again, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Andy. This was really, really fun day.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll go ahead and cap it there, and we will see you all next time. Take care.